What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Perfect Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Molina, and thank you for joining me for another episode. Do me a favor real quick. Smash the subscribe button for me if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up and share. And if you're on Apple, Amazon, and Spotify, please do the same. Leave a comment, review. It really helps my podcast get out to the atmosphere and the algorithm and all those wonderful things that the internet does. So if you do that for me, please, I'd appreciate it. It helps this podcast grow, and believe me, the stats that I got at the end of this last year showed me that you guys are doing a great job at that, and I appreciate you so much. All right. Today, what we're talking about is becoming the best you requires a lot of goodbyes. Becoming the best you requires a lot of goodbyes. All right. This is a topic that I brought up last night on TikTok. If you're here from TikTok, you know that we had a great conversation. And I told everybody, if you missed any part of this discussion, I'm going to release it on a podcast episode that you can share with your friends, family, and loved ones. So here it is. By the way, if you would like to join me and interact with me live, TikTok is where you'll want to be. Okay. If you have an account, follow me at It's Ray Molina. Follow me there. And Monday through Thursday, 8 o'clock to 10 p.m. West Coast time, I go live. I talk about a topic like I'm about to right now. And then I bring up a panel of people who are following me, who want to interact and talk about the topic, have input, and have a dialogue. It's an amazing night. And I always end the night with a prayer roll call. If this sounds like something you'd like to be a part of, come on over and join us. I promise you, this community is growing big. We're almost at 10,000 people there. And I really appreciate all of you guys who show love. So please check me out on TikTok. Again, at It's Ray Molina. That is also my Instagram if you'd like to follow me. And my website is raymolina.com. And yes, there is merchandise there. So please check it out. Thank you so much. All right. So let's talk about this topic. Let's get it going. And again, if you like this episode, please share it with somebody. It's important. All right. I promise you, you're going to know at least one person that is dealing with this, and it might be yourself. Nobody tells you this part. They tell you to level up. They tell you to grow. They tell you to become your best self. It's nice, right? Everybody tells you these things. But what they don't tell you is that becoming your best self means saying goodbye over and over and over again. Goodbye to people, goodbye to habits, and goodbye to versions of yourself that once kept you safe. But now those versions keep you stuck. The lie about growth. Let's talk about it. Growth is marketed as addition, when in reality, it's subtraction. Let me say that for you again. Growth is always marketed as addition, but in reality, it is actually subtraction. We think becoming better means adding. Oh, I need this, I need this, I need this, I got to do this, I got to do this. Especially now that we're in a new year, a lot of you are probably doing that right now, right? You're doing a lot of, oh, I got to add this, I got to do this, I got to add this to my life. You're wrong. It requires more discipline. It requires more success from you. It requires more confidence. And the real growth starts with letting go. That is the hard truth. Letting go of old routines, letting go of old environments, letting go of old relationships, letting go of old excuses. You don't become the best self by stacking wins. You become the best self by shedding what no longer fits. Let me say it again. You don't become your best self by stacking wins. You become your best self by shedding what no longer fits. We're talking about all the excuses you make every day you wake up for why you can't make change. Get rid of them. We're talking about relationships, both intimate, physical, friendships, family, everything. Any relationship that is continually trying to keep you down or enabling you to be the same version over and over and over every day. We're talking about the routines that you have that are just monotonous. They're not doing anything to benefit you. You got to let go of all of it. Because if you're watching this right now and you're telling yourself, I have to make change, I want to become a better version of me, then you got to let go. You got to say goodbye to a lot of things. There's that saying that everybody's probably heard, maybe you've heard it. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. And that is very true. Saying goodbye to people, this is the hardest part. I won't lie to you. This is the part that's going to make this journey very difficult. Because along the way, I lost people that I thought were going to be in my life forever. And if you would have told me in 2025 my circle was this big, I would have said, no way. But life happens. You start making decisions that are going to change the course of your life for the better. And those people disappear. Some people only know the old version of you. Raise your hand. I know a lot of people, when I run into them right now, the first thing they do is talk about the old me. They talk about my past. They talk about when I used to do music. They talk about when I used to run around with so-and-so. They talk about when all the girls that I used to be with back in the day. They talk about running into an ex-girlfriend of mine and what she's up to now, how many kids she has. They talk about that one time I got drunk at a party and did this. They talk about everything. They talk about when I used to be a graffiti artist. Yes, and that used to be in my history. They talk about all this stuff. And at 51, that's not me no more. It's not me. And I'm glad. But this is the version a lot of people know of you. And that's all they know. And really, that's all they care about. Some people benefit from you staying the same. Raise your hand if you had that. I had a lot of people around me that when I went through my divorce, all of a sudden, they weren't around when I was married, but when I got divorced, all of a sudden these people came around and it was like, you're back. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. And I wasn't into it. I tried, but I realized I'm different. I just lost my wife and my family, and I'm a dad now. Some people benefit from you staying the same. Growth creates distance, and that distance hurts, especially if it's someone you love, someone that you held very close to your heart. It's tough. I won't lie to you. If you're serious about making changes and becoming a better version of you, some of these goodbyes are going to hurt. And it won't be a goodbye like an actual goodbye. It will be a metaphorical goodbye where you don't even really say anything. You kind of just fade away. And it's going to hurt when it's that somebody you thought was going to be around forever. Raise your hand if you had friends that mock you and your discipline. When you finally started making change in your life and you got really disciplined. I was there. I went through it. I had people that would intentionally try to break my discipline. Why? Because F that. Let's have some fun. I want to have fun, but not at the cost of me becoming a better version of me. That's too high of a cost to pay. Raise a hand if you had people who disappeared when you stopped people pleasing. I had that too. I tried to make everybody in my life happy when my only concern should have been making my wife happy when I was married, my children happy. I tried to make people happy that had no business being in my circle, not when I was married. They had no business being around my family, not as close as they were. And here I am trying to make them happy when they didn't deserve it. Relationships that can't survive your boundaries. You're going to find that once you set up boundaries in your life so you do not go back to the old version of you, there are going to be people that can't survive that. Because you've never had boundaries, because you've always just kind of let loose and you're just who you are. But once you start setting some guidelines for who the person you're becoming, you're going to have friendships, family, loved ones, whatever relationship it is, you're going to have them fade away because they can't handle it. Again, it may not come with an argument, a disagreement, or anything. It may just happen to be a situation where people fade away. Not everyone who walked with you can run with you. I love that line. Let me say it again. Not everyone that walked with you can run with you. And that doesn't make them bad people. It just means the season changed. I'm okay with that. Trust me, I'm in a much better place now. Make peace with it. Saying goodbye to the old version of yourself. This is where it gets really personal. The version of you that avoided conflict, chose comfort over calling, hid behind excuses, stayed busy avoiding healing. I did all four of those things. Didn't want conflict because conflict meant the relationships had a chance to break, and the friendships, the family, whatever. Didn't want to have conflict because I didn't really want to lose anybody. So I didn't have tough talks. I always knew what my calling was, but I got too comfortable in life. I shared with you guys that when I got married, I looked at my marriage like it was the finish line. I checked it off on my list of things to do in my life. And then I moved on. I got comfortable. And when you get comfortable in a relationship, a marriage, that's very dangerous. I always knew my calling was to be a leader, to speak, to encourage, to motivate. And for a long time, I ignored it. I always hid behind excuses. I had an excuse for everything. Why were you out of shape? Why were you living a certain way? Why did you drink so much? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? I had an excuse for everything. I no longer make excuses. I own up to everything. I own up to my mistakes. And I always stayed busy. I stayed busy because I wanted to avoid the pain. I wanted to avoid healing because it was too hard. I would throw myself into work because I couldn't sleep. Right after my divorce, to be blunt, I would use women to try to just avoid the pain. And that didn't work either. All of these things I was doing was just to avoid healing because I knew that process was going to take a long time. Some versions of you were built for survival, but survival isn't the same thing as becoming. It's okay if you're in that season of your life where all you're doing is surviving, because I've been there. But don't stay there forever. Okay? Like the message says, some versions of you were built for survival. Sometimes you need to do that just to get by. But I promise you, you will be doing yourself a disservice if you stay in that mode, if you stay in that season of your life. You gotta survive, but once you feel like you're starting to get some fresh air and you're getting the head above water, get out of that mode, because it will be detrimental to you moving forward, becoming the better you. The loneliness gap. Oh man. This is a tough part of this talk because this is the part that deeply connects with me and men in general. Growth often creates a quiet season. You're no longer who you were, but you haven't fully arrived at who you are becoming. There's a lonely hallway between who you were and who you are becoming. Let me say it again. There's a lonely hallway between who you were and who you are becoming. And in the middle of all that is dead silence. And I'll tell you what, sometimes that dead silence is loud. Because you're still hurt. Because you're still healing. Sometimes when it's silent and you're by yourself and you're at home, the silence is just deafening. The quiet season is tough. It's not an easy season, I promise you. Because if you're used to being in a relationship, you're used to having your kids all the time, or you're just used to having people around, somebody that you love or whatever, when you do this, it is very, very tough. Because one thing hits. I'm by myself. I'm literally doing this on my own, and there's nobody here with me. But listen to me. The loneliness isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's where clarity, discipline, and identity are forged. So don't look at it as punishment. It's not. It's also a challenge. And I promise you, if you stay the course, you will come out on top on that challenge. You can do it. Why the goodbyes are worth it. because they bring hope. Every goodbye creates space. Space creates alignment, and alignment creates peace. Let me say it again. Every goodbye creates space. Space creates alignment, and alignment creates peace. Write that down. The life you want won't fit inside the life you're afraid to leave. It won't. The life you want is too big. And the life you're afraid to leave is this big. It's tiny. Because it was stubborn. It didn't want to try anything new. It had excuses for everything. But this new life, this one we're talking about, it won't fit inside that one. So be prepared to outgrow, because it's coming. I have found purpose. My fatherhood has become better. I have become a better leader. I have so much more integrity in my life, and my faith is so much more stronger since becoming the better me. There's so many things that are about me now. There's so many things that I do now that people who've known me for years and understand that, they don't understand how I got there. And what they didn't see was all of the time that I spent by myself alone. The nights that I was broken, the nights that I didn't go to the party, the nights that I didn't go to whatever functions were going on. I just stayed at home and I tried to become a better me. And it wasn't always easy. If you're in a season of goodbyes, if people are falling away, if habits no longer satisfy you, you're not broken. You're becoming. Becoming your best self doesn't feel like winning at first. It feels like letting go. And that's how you know it's real. If this episode hits home for you, I pray that you take this, that you share it, that you tell somebody about it. I pray that you don't just watch this and keep it to yourself. My hope is that you will share the message, tell somebody about it, and put into action some of the stuff that I talked to you about here. I pray that you use it to become the better version of you. Listen, we're at the top of the year now. It's 2026. If you're going to do something, it's the best time to start it now. Why not start it at the top of the year? I don't do New Year's resolutions. I don't do any of that. But why not start at the top of the year? I encourage all of you to take steps to change and become the better you. Every day I do something that is moving me forward to that better version of me. I pray every morning. I exercise every morning. I go to the gym. I drink water. I eat better. I share the word of God on my live podcast. I share the word of God here with you. I make sure that I'm releasing content every day to build up what I'm trying to do because I have a goal. I make sure that I'm attentive to my sons. I make sure that when I'm at the baseball field with my team, that I'm attentive, that I'm there, that I'm in the moment, that I'm speaking life and being positive with them, even when I'm hard with them. I'm making sure that everything that I'm doing in my life is with purpose and integrity. And I'm very intentional with everything. So I hope if you like this episode, you share it with somebody. I love you guys. I appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you for your continued support. And again, if you like this message, please do me a favor. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. And if you're on Apple, Amazon, and Spotify, please follow, leave a review, leave a comment. And on YouTube, again, hit that thumbs up and leave a comment for me. All right? Please check out the website, raymolina.com. And again, if you would like to interact with me live and talk with me, join me on TikTok Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. West Coast time. The name is @It'sRayMolina. All right? That is also my Instagram. Have a wonderful day. I love you guys. God bless you. And I'll close this like I always do. My life isn't perfect. Oftentimes it is a mess. But for me, it is the perfect mess. Peace.